Sophia Dorothea of Celle, the princess locked away for love. The doors don't slam, they close, softly. And somehow, that's worse. You stand inside a palace that looks like freedom. Tall windows, polished floors, light slipping through silk curtains like it belongs there. But it doesn't, because this place is a cage. This is the world of Sophia Dorothea of Celle, and everything about it is built to look like something it isn't. A marriage that isn't love, a title that isn't power, a life that isn't hers. You can feel it the moment you step into it. Not tension, absence. Because the man she's tied to, George I of Great Britain, isn't here. Not in the way that matters. Cold, distant, more invested in appearances than in her. And in a world like this, that matters more than anything. Because this isn't just a marriage, it's a contract. One designed to secure power, alliances, legacy. Not happiness. Never happiness. So she learns quickly. How to stand where she's placed. How to speak when required. How to exist inside something that doesn't allow her to truly live. But here's the thing about cages. They don't just trap your body. They press on your mind, on your heart, until something inside you starts to push back. And for her, it does. Not loudly, not recklessly, quietly, in stolen moments, in glances that last a second too long, in the realization that somewhere out there is something more than this. And then she finds it. Philipp Christoph von Königsmarck. Not a king, not a throne, but something far more dangerous. Choice. You can feel it in the way everything shifts the moment he enters her world. The way the silence changes, the way the air feels different, the way something inside her finally wakes up. Because this isn't obligation. This is connection. Real, uncontrolled. And that makes it powerful. But it also makes it dangerous. Because in a world built on control, love like this isn't allowed. Not quietly, not safely, and definitely not without consequence. You can feel it building, the tension tightening, the whispers starting, the sense that something seen too clearly will not be tolerated. Because she's not supposed to choose, she's supposed to accept, and she doesn't. Not fully, not anymore. Because once you've felt something real, you can't go back to pretending. And that's where everything changes. Because love in a place like this isn't freedom, it's risk. And she's about to learn exactly how high the cost is, right at the moment where love stops being something hidden and becomes something that can't be ignored. Because next, this doesn't stay secret, and when it's exposed, everything is taken from her.
And once something like that begins, it doesn't stay hidden for long, not at a court that survives on watching. You feel it first in the way conversations pause when she enters, in the way glances linger just a little too long, in the way silence starts to feel deliberate. Because nothing in this world goes unnoticed. Not love, especially not love that wasn't approved. Sophia Dorothea of Celle feels it before anyone says it out loud. The shift. The sense that something once private is no longer hers alone. But she doesn't stop, because stopping would mean losing the only thing that's ever felt real. And for the first time in her life, she's not willing to give that up quietly. So the letters continue, carefully written, carefully hidden, carrying everything she cannot say out loud. Because in a place like this, words spoken disappear. But words written? They last. And that's what makes them dangerous. Because secrets don't stay safe forever. They slip, through servants, through whispers, through eyes that see more than they should. And then, they're found. You don't see the moment it happens. You feel it in the aftermath. The stillness. The kind that comes when something has gone too far and cannot be undone. The court doesn't erupt. It tightens. Because this isn't scandal for gossip. This is scandal for control. And control? It responds quietly, decisively, because George I of Great Britain doesn't confront her with anger. He doesn't shout. He doesn't demand explanations. He acts. You feel it in how quickly everything changes. Doors watched more closely, movements restricted, conversations monitored. And then, the one thing she still held on to is taken. Philipp Christoph von Königsmarck disappears. Not slowly, not gradually. Gone, without warning, without explanation, without return. And that's when it becomes real, not just risk, loss. You see it in the way she searches for answers that don't come, in the way silence replaces everything he once was, in the way hope starts to fracture. Because this wasn't supposed to end like this, not without a word, not without a chance to fight for it. But this world doesn't allow that. It removes what threatens it, and leaves nothing behind, except her. And now, she's no longer just a wife out of place. She's a problem. And problems don't stay inside palace walls. They're dealt with, quietly, permanently. You feel it in the way her world shrinks. Fewer rooms, fewer freedoms, fewer moments where she can forget what's been taken. Because this isn't punishment meant to be seen. It's punishment meant to last. And it does. Because next, she doesn't lose her freedom for a moment. She loses it for life.
And when they decide, they don't argue. They don't negotiate. They remove. You feel it in the way the palace goes quiet around Sophia Dorothea of Celle. Not loud punishment, not public humiliation, something colder, final. She isn't brought into a room to defend herself. She isn't given a moment to explain, because this was never about truth. It was about control. And control doesn't ask questions. It acts. The marriage ended. Not in the way love stories end, not with closure, with a decision written somewhere else, by people who never intended to hear her side. And just like that, she is no longer a wife. But she isn't free, because freedom, that was never part of the plan. She is sent away, not to another court, not to another life, to isolation. Alden House. You can feel the difference the moment she arrives. The silence here isn't the same. It doesn't hide anything, it confirms it. Because there are no crowds to watch her now, no whispers to follow her, no choices left to make, only walls and time. Years stretch in front of her like something impossible to measure. Not days, not moments, years. You see it in the routines that replace everything she once had. Walking the same paths, seeing the same rooms, living the same quiet over and over again. Because this isn't a sentence meant to end, it's a life rewritten. And still, she doesn't disappear. Not completely. Because memory, it doesn't leave that easily. You feel it in the way she holds on to what she had. Not loudly, not desperately. Quietly. The kind of quiet that carries something deeper than grief. Truth. Because no matter what they took, no matter how completely they tried to rewrite her story, they couldn't erase what she felt, or what she chose. And that choice, even now, still defines her. Not the title she lost, not the marriage that failed, not the walls that hold her, but the moment she decided she would not live her entire life without something real. And even though it cost her everything, it was still hers. You can feel it in the stillness that surrounds her, not empty, held. Because some lives aren't remembered for what they gained, but for what they dared to reach for, even when the world said no. And hers? Her story doesn't end with freedom. It ends with something quieter. Endurance. A woman who lost everything, except the part of herself that chose love anyway. So we leave her here. Not in the moment she was taken, but in the years she survived after. Because that's where her strength lives. If this story stayed with you, if you felt what it means to choose something real, even when it costs everything, don't stop here. there are more women like her. Women who didn't just follow the roles they were given, they broke them. Subscribe and come back for the next chapter. Next time, we step into a woman who didn't lose power. She built it from nothing. Stay dangerous, stay loud, and never let them hold the pen.